and pranking their crew members.
There's a costume lady named Miss Gina, and we love scaring her.
Raegan and Iain like to hide in the corners and jump out on her.
We go this, blah, and she screams like it's the end of the world, like it's a zombie apocalypse.
But they didn't stop there. One day, the mischievous pair found something they called a demon doll and decided to use it to scare someone else.
We put it in the writer's room, and they came in, and it was really funny because they screamed so loud. It was really funny.
Aside from arranging pranks, the kids also played every day on the set.
It's a whole big stage with there's so many hide and seek spots. We run around, play tag and stuff.
Of course, letting them do it without supervision wasn't a good idea. Being very smart, Iain and Raegan understood this and decided to find a win-win solution. They wrote a letter to the then president of the Warner Brothers.
Is there any way you could designate like a place for us to play, or is there an area you could think of?
Their request was humble, but the guy turned out to be pretty generous.
They built us a park.
Imagine how thrilled the kids were.
And they'd built a park for us. It had a little sign that said like Young Sheldon Park, but it was really cool and awesome. And I just remember that was such like a kind, crazy thing.
I wonder if this park still exists. If it does, it should be open to the public. But working on Young Sheldon wasn't all about playing games, at least for Raegan. In the first season of the show, she hated her bed.
It's not very comfortable.
No, it's itchy.
So she'd scratch her arms and legs every chance she got.
Yeah, I'm like, itch, itch, itch.
What made things even worse were the woolen pajamas, which irritated her skin a lot. Luckily for Raegan, the crew eventually gave her soft clothes to wear underneath.
Like little shirts and stuff to put under it so it's not itchy, and they'll give me like pants.
Can you believe that Iain didn't have this kind of a problem?
So you got the soft bed.
I got the soft bed.
Talk about injustice. And here's another challenge Raegan and Iain faced on the set. They had to figure out many different things to portray their characters, and the hardest one was understanding tech from the 80s.
Where do you put this in here? I'm not an 80s kid at all.
Surprisingly, what confused them the most was a wall phone.
I thought the phone was a storage cabinet when I first saw it, the wall phone.
Even the very concept of this gadget was weird to them. Why does a phone have wires and hang on a wall, right? But it's not the only thing that confused them.
Ooh, cassette tape, cassette tape, cassette tape.
It's a cassette tape.
It's a cassette tape. It's a Walkman.
Ah, Raegan. And here's what Iain said about the weirdest thing for him.
Probably the fashion.
He was especially surprised by his Meemaw's outfit.
I'll like put my arm around her and I'll be like, your shoulder feels weird. And then she's like, all of it's padded.
Besides that, the young actor couldn't understand why computers were so huge back then.
That's bigger than my room at home.
Thankfully, the adult stars of the show were always there to help him figure everything out. And they had a lot of fun seeing their confusion.
Iain didn't understand what a dial tone was.
What? That he was dialing first.
And then picking up
the phone.
Even the sitcom's executive producer, Steve Malaro, laughed at how he used a phone for the first time. He was dialing and I said, "Buddy, it's just 7 numbers." Seeing all this unfamiliar stuff around, the kids wanted to explore everything they saw. And that's why Annie Potts gave them the sweetest nickname.
Called them the ferrets. And, when we go on a new set or something, it's all very interesting for them. So they're in all the drawers and all the boxes.
For sure, Annie enjoyed her time with the Young Sheldon kids. And she won't stop gushing over how cute they are.
And they're in my lap and all over me, kissing me, hugging me, telling me they love me all day long. And I get paid for that.
The actress also knows that she's the star for them because they adore Toy Story, like all kids. Let me remind you that she voiced Bo Peep in it.
Have I done Bo Peep for you? You have. I think you have before, a couple times.
Come on, Woody.
Just see how Iain enjoyed this. But while the kids had trouble with the 80s stuff, Annie also found it hard to understand modern jargon. For example, she couldn't guess what SMH meant.
SMH?
SMH.
So much.
You're on the right track. Shaking my head.
Live and learn, right? Indeed, Annie is an amazing human being, as her character and herself. just like other adult actors in Young Sheldon.
And you have some good comedic timing.
Oh, well, thanks.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, some do.
Did you know that Lance Barber enjoys making his so-called George faces?
And we've even named them. Do George face number 2 with a little hint of number 11. Those are my favorite to play.
Although Lance is great as Sheldon's dad, some of the Big Bang Theory fans still recall him playing a small role in the original sitcom. He appeared there as Jimmy Speckerman, Leonard's bully from high school.
Well, geez, you're still harping on that? What a puss.
But as Lance says, it's time now to let go of that fact and accept him as George.
I think that we'll have to ask the fans of the show to suspend some disbelief. Based on social media, it's going to be difficult for some of them. And I hope that I can do a good enough job to take them away from you.
He certainly did a great job, just like his on-screen wife, Zoe Perry. As you probably know, she's the real-life daughter of Laurie Metcalf, who played Mary on TBBT. Although she certainly had an advantage, the actress was nervous auditioning for the role.
I was like, oh, I don't want to screw this up.
But her mom gave her some nice advice. Just to trust the writers because they're comedic geniuses.
As long as you ground it, in reality, you're golden.
And Zoe stole the hearts of the crew and then of the audience.
Oh, that's a funny turn, isn't it?
Now let's talk about the actor who's no longer a kid, although he started the show like one.
It just kind of happened.
Montana lives up to his character 100%. The accent, attitude, and body language are all on point, with no prior research needed. The actor was also born and raised in a small town in Texas, and he played football, just like his character. But there are even more similarities.
I love that he doesn't clean his room, because that's like me in real life.
Yet the truth is,
His room is more messy than Georgie's.
at the same time, his on-screen dad can name at least one difference between Montana and his character.
I dare to say that you're a little smarter than Georgie.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah.
Certainly. The two actors shared quite a few funny moments on the set, and one became the favorite scene for Montana. Remember the episode where George tried to be cool, but his chair wouldn't let him? Montana shared how they filmed it.
We had to retake that at least like 30 times, and I'm not kidding.
Every time the sound came, the actors would start laughing. And we can't blame them because it really was a hilarious scene. And for dessert, here are a couple of jokes that Raegan came up with herself.
Why did the hipster burn his tongue? Because he drank his coffee before it was cool.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Ben.
Ben who?
Been knocking for 20 minutes.
That girl certainly has a comedic talent. Now it's time for your decision. Who's funnier on Young Sheldon? Kids or adults? Share in the comments below and then watch our other videos about your favorite series.